Oh, give me that. I need that. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're here in the Bleachers. I am the hottest, baddest, sexiest man on cable access TV. The uncontrollable.
Oh, brother.
Anything that you can think of.
The unattractive.
I cannot be controlled. I cannot be let down. No, sir.
You also can't attract any females.
And yes, I can.
No, you cannot.
Yes, I can.
No, you cannot.
Yes,
because if you did, you would not be.
Yes, I can.
You would not be stinking up the place of alcohol.
Oh, please, how dare you?
I dare because I can.
You wish you were me.
No, why would I wish to be a town drunk?
I'm not. Yeah, you wish that you were more than a town drunk.
Please, ain't nobody trying to be no town drunk.
Oh, please.
Just like ain't nobody trying to be somebody that they not.
Now, you know what? This is going to be good because we're trying to get on. Yeah, see, I'm on Facebook too. So, ladies and gentlemen, what a way to open up the show. Because being the uncontrollable, trying to control me, and it's a horrible thing. And being the hottest, baddest, sexiest man on cable access TV, it is a pleasure to be one because I am the man. So let's talk about.
No, you're just a man.
God
is the man.
That's right.
God is the man.
That's
you're just
right.
a man, just like I am. I
am the man on cable access TV.
No, you're not the man anywhere.
Yes, I have to be. They love me. Everybody loves me.
They love you as much as they love the plague.
You know what? The plague, thank goodness, is gone. It's supposed to make a comeback. But, New England Patriots, 6-2. What do you think of that, sir?
It's funny that you lead into that because we're going to start off with the NFL right now.
Please
Unfortunately,
the Giants.
You know what? It's a good thing that we have hockey and basketball season to tide us over before the football season begins. Because if this city were a one-sport town, we would find other ways of trying to entertain ourselves because we can't find any type of entertainment with the Jets and the Giants right now. The Jets are dreadful.
Yes.
The Giants are dreadful. The Giants are even worse. Don't be fooled by the Jets record. It's painfully obvious that they cannot try and win a big game. You don't even know what Jet team is going to show up. Is it going to be the Jet team that's going to beat Buffalo by double digits? Or is it going to be the Jet team that laid a goose egg like they did yesterday in Tampa?
And believe it or not, get in the middle so you can see the shot, brother. You got to get in. See? It's at Facebook. Hi, see?
Yeah, Hector has us on Facebook Live right now. But
they can't see you.
Well,
which is okay. Because I am who I am. Now you put your face in there.
You are a doofus.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You ain't welcome.
But you know what? The Giants, I heard the press conference today.
Yeah.
Oh, dear God. What a press conference by the Giants coach. He's got until the end of the season.
Yeah.
They're backing him up until the end of the season.
Yeah, they're gonna give him until the end of the year, which I think is fair, but then they're going to evaluate the season. What is there to evaluate after a possible 1 or 2 win season?
What you evaluate is the young players that are on there that are actually trying, how to motivate because the older players, and I think some of the other players, because you're on a losing streak, you don't get motivated. You don't motivated enough to want to win. Because there were some tackles that could have been tackles that, it's like being in a job. It's like being in a rotten job, and management's getting down on you hard, and you're trying to do that job. And so with the Giants, it's the same way. I heard on WFAN.
You know what's the really bad thing about this? Some of the players that are on the team this year,
they're giving
the
up.
Same players that they had when they won 11 games last year.
Yeah.
So something must have changed. I don't know what it is, but they can't tackle. They can't stop the run.
That's true.
Their offensive line is a joke. And where is the running game? And just moments ago, I was talking with someone, and he was asking, are the Giants ever going to get a good quarterback? Eli Manning is not the problem. Has he had his problems with accuracy and protecting the football?
Yes.
Yes. But this is not the issue. The issue is they can't play defense. No. They don't tackle. I mean, look at what Janoris Jenkins did yesterday on a feeble attempt at trying to tackle one of the 49er receivers yesterday. And because the Giants are now 1-8, don't be surprised if you see another change at the head coaching slot.
Do you know that one of the players said he was tired?
Tired of what?
No, there was a guy, I forgot his name, and he was tired. He just came back. He hasn't played a lot. And they said he was tired. He came out and said in a press conference, "I am tired." That's all he said. And that's the thing. When players give up and the coach is losing it, and you have players on there. Now, going back to the Jets are a decent team. I don't know if they're going to make it to the playoffs or not, but they have a better shot now with the Giants.
At least they're better than the Giants right now.
Right now, the Giants right now. If the top three, do you go for a quarterback or a defensive player?
They have to get a defensive player, specifically a linebacker. Because right now, the trio of linebackers that they have, they're not doing anything to try and stop the run. It's really embarrassing to watch these guys try and tackle. They can't tackle right now. And because they can't tackle, they can't stop anybody. They made the 49ers yesterday, who had been a winless squad, look like the 1984, 88, and 89, and even 94 San Francisco 49er squads that won the Super Bowl.
At least management is backing up the coach for this season until the season.
That's no surprise because the Giants don't really believe in firing someone in the middle of the season. They haven't done that since they dumped Bill Arnsparger for John McVay back in '76, but that's beside the point. The point is they want to exercise patience with their head coaches. That's why you saw Tom Coughlin last 12 years before he took the Jacksonville job.
And also the thing is, it takes at least the coach, 3 years to get him started? So that's why you give him at least 3 years.
3 or 4 years.
So let's go with the down if you want to.
Yeah, let's go with the scoreboard.
Because New England at 6-2 right now.
And New England played last night in Denver, and it's time to call a spade a spade.
Okay.
New England is the best team in the AFC. I think they might be the best team in the entire league right now, and that's saying a lot considering Philadelphia has a better record than them. But the Patriots, you saw exactly what they did to the Broncos last night. You don't win games 41-16 by osmosis. The Patriots won because they capitalized on lousy special teams from the Broncos, a dropped punt, a blocked punt.
Unpredictable, Johnny
12 men on the field.
Yeah.
On another punt.
Yeah.
And all of that was converted into touchdowns by the Pats.
Right. Now, going to the Buffalo Bills, 5-3.
And Buffalo got their butts handed to them by New Orleans yesterday. I still don't believe in Buffalo as a team, especially with Tyrod Taylor as the quarterback. And right now, their defense is looking extremely vulnerable.
Miami at 4-4.
Miami, if I'm not mistaken, didn't they play just the other day?
Again, I'm just going by what I'm seeing, but how did Miami do? Just out of curiosity, how is their defense and how is their offense? Because they're second to last place.
Yeah. Well, they're in third place right now. They're basically half a game ahead of the Jets to try and stay away from the cellar. As far as the Dolphins are concerned, they actually play tonight. The Dolphins are playing tonight against the Panthers, and this is a big game for both teams because not only are the Dolphins desperately trying to get themselves into playoff position, but they now have to try and win games with Jay Cutler at quarterback.
He's a good, decent quarterback. Given the opportunity, that boy can play. He can play when he can.
He's got skills.
He's got skills.
But his leadership skills and his attitude and the fact that he commits really bad turnovers at the worst times have just soured me on him. And this is a critical game for Miami tonight. If they don't win this game, they're only going to be further behind the 8 ball.
And we already talked about the Jets at 4-5.
Boy, did the Jets self-destruct yesterday.
The one good thing about the East is that everybody's in contention right now. They're close with 6-2, 5-3, 4-4, and 4-5. It's a toss-up in the East right now.
Yeah.
Because it's right now, if everybody's playing the way they're playing, anybody can make the playoffs in the East. In the South is Tennessee at 5-3.
And Tennessee just won their game yesterday. And it was a really, really exciting game that the Titans played against the Bengals. A little closer than they wanted to, but Marcus Mariota, again, coming up big, with making the plays down the stretch.
At Jacksonville at 5-3.
Who saw Jacksonville being so ahead of schedule the way they are? Certainly not me. And the best part is that Blake Bortles is actually playing good football. But he's not the only reason why the Jaguars are 6-3. The Jaguars are 6-3 because, for one, they're playing terrific defense, and for another, Leonard Fournette has been probably their best offensive player so far. I mean, I would like to see him grow up a little bit, but so far, he's been the man on offense.
Houston at 3-5.
Houston's horrible. I mean, now that Deshaun Watson tore up his knee and is gone for the rest of the year, it's gotten to the point where now they're going to have to try and play out the string because they're not going to win any games with Tom Savage as their quarterback.
3-6, Indianapolis.
Indianapolis just barely lost yesterday to Pittsburgh, which right now could be the second best team in the AFC. But Indy, now they're going to have Andrew Luck without Andrew Luck for the rest of the season. And this is only going to complicate the quarterback situation even more.
And, okay, we're now at the North with Pittsburgh at 6-2. Take it away.
Pittsburgh leads the division right now at 6-2. Right now, we mentioned that they had beaten the Colts yesterday. Right now, Pittsburgh is the second best team in the league. They've got the quarterback play, they've got the running back play, and they've also got one of the best receivers in the league. And it's a really difficult combination to try and beat unless your name is the Patriots, because right now, I think the Patriots are the team that's standing in the Steelers' way of going back to the Super Bowl.
Baltimore at 4-5.
Baltimore's a really, really tough team to figure out. You don't know which team is going to show up from one day to the next. They had a bye yesterday, but if Joe Flacco can keep his good health for the rest of the year, I would say maybe they would be a 500 team because I think they have some problems with their running game. And I think they have a couple of problems defensively as well. They've been vulnerable in spots.
Cincinnati at 3-5.
Cincinnati's a major disappointment. A bad loss to the Titans yesterday, and once again, Andy Dalton did not come up big down the stretch.
And also
Cleveland
at 0-5.
0-5 or 0-9?
Okay, wait a minute. Let me see. It is 0-8.
0-8?
Yeah, that's according to this.
Well, they're actually 0-9
All right,
because they lost to the Lions yesterday.
Well, what do you think they're going to do that in that place? Because you got the Giants at the basement, Cleveland at the basement, and you got the Giants that eventually you're going to need a quarterback.
Eventually, the Giants are going to need a quarterback. They drafted Davis Webb in the spring, but is he going to be the answer down the road?
You don't know it unless you play him.
He's been sitting the entire season. In fact, he didn't even dress for yesterday's game. He was holding the clipboard in street clothes.
That's the thing. I would put him in, even though they're saying no, leave Eli there. No, you got to put him in. I think you should just put him in and try him out because he could be like the quarterback from Dallas. You know, Tony Romo comes in.
There's only one Dak Prescott and one Tony Romo. I'm not too sure about that.
That's one in a million, but at least you try to find out what you have. Also, you know, in the West, you got Kansas City at 6-3.
Well, how about those Kansas City Chiefs? They're maintaining in the West right now, and they had a bye this weekend. If they can hold on to their end of the bargain and take advantage of their schedule, maybe, just maybe, they might be able to do something this season. But Kansas City's they could be a really dangerous team. I mean, they've gotten a big win against New England this year, but they've also fallen on hard times with 2 straight losses. They're going to have to come up with some kind of way, maybe open up the offense a little bit more, maybe have Alex Smith do a little bit of a no-huddle offense in spots, because if they're going to make the playoffs, this is where you really have to open up the game. You can't be too conservative. And, of course, they still have Kareem Hunt to hand the ball to, and he's had a terrific rookie season.
You also have the Oakland Raiders at 4-5.
They had a bye yesterday, but Oakland, I'm a little bit concerned about Oakland right now because Derek Carr has been in and out of the lineup, and also a game under 500. They looked really vulnerable, specifically offensively. So I'd like to see Carr maybe get a little bit more protection from his offensive line because there was a reason, as it turns out, why Derek Carr was hurt after the first couple of weeks of the season.
Why?
And it was really shocking to me. And part of it didn't even have to do with football. Turns out there was a little tension going on between Carr and the rest of the locker room because he was not happy about his teammates taking a knee for the national anthem. And Carr, who's a very religious man, is supporting the political administration that is calling for everyone to stand for the national anthem. And supposedly, the offensive line deliberately let Carr get sacked on a play, and he wound up getting hurt and missing 2 weeks.
You see that?
If this is true,
that's wrong.
If this is true, then not only is this negligence, this is grounds for getting some people released or booted altogether.
Wait a minute. If you want to protest, you should be able to protest. If you don't want to protest, then you shouldn't have to protest. Plain and simple English. If you believe the one end that, for whatever reason, is disrespectful to the flag, that's one thing. Okay, do it. And if people want to put their knee down, by all means, go do it. You're doing it peacefully, and that's what it's supposed to be, a peaceful protest. If they did this, they should get suspended or fined. They should, because
maybe
that's
they should get released.
Not released, because they have contracts and so on. They have to get fined and suspended. They really have to, because again, this is a protest, ladies and gentlemen. This is supposed to be a peaceful protest, putting your knee down.
Or locking arms with teammates.
And fighting for the injustices of minority people. Plain and simple English. You can't do both. The game is a game. One has nothing to do with the other because you already did the protest.
And I noticed last night when Amy Grant and Michael W. Smith were singing the national anthem in Denver, every single player stood and put their hands over their hearts since it was Veterans Day weekend.
Yeah, but you were telling me about a veteran, 93-year-old veteran.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
As it turns out, there happens to be one guy who has taken
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen,
the
I have
side.
allergies.
You sure it's not you being on the bottle again?
No, it has nothing to do with my
Did you
nose.
spike your Pepsi with booze, and that's why you're a little
tipsy?
Tipsy.
That's from all the
with
women.
With eyes bloodshot.
I have to, because all the women exhaust me, man. Don't you get it? Unlike you, I have a life.
Oh, for crying out loud. I keep telling you, no one likes you.
Okay, fine. Well, at least I don't have to play with blow-up dolls.
Oh, I don't do that. You do.
Okay, fine. Okay, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Denver at 3-5, and the LA Chargers at 3-5. Take it away.
Going to the West right now. Denver played about as embarrassing a game as they could have played at any time this season, and it was the special teams that cost them.
You didn't finish that story, though.
Special teams events. I'm going to see if I can try and find that story.
Yeah, but
while
go
I'm
ahead.
talking about what happened yesterday.
And
Denver had their heads handed to them by New England, but that's not the issue. The issue is if you're going to try and challenge the Patriots, the defending champions, you've got to play
defense.
Practically the perfect game.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
Yeah, that's true.
The Patriots sliced through that Broncos defense like they were not even there.
Yeah.
That was
that's
two
true.
strikes against the Broncos.
We saw the game together, and I'm going, where's the defense? Then now you got to give the running back credit. I mean, he's making the play, so you can't always say, oh, it's the defense's fault. You have to say, hey, the guy played good to get through there, you know. But the Chargers, what do you think? Same record as the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, and the worst part about this is Phillip Rivers is now in concussion protocol because at least this time, he wound up admitting that he had that something was not right with him.
Oh man!
Now, as far as that story that I was going to let you know about, this was first reported in Time magazine a couple months ago. There is a 97-year-old World War II veteran.
We don't have that many of those. We don't have. So appreciate those guys because they really did a number. They really did a good job. Yeah.
John Middlemas is the man's name. He's now a farmer who lives in Missouri. He is now the first veteran to take a knee and support the NFL players. For the record, he's a big, big football fan.
Look at that, ladies and gentlemen, a 97-year-old World War II veteran out there who's saying, protest peacefully. And you know what? Yesterday was Veterans Day. I hope people took the time to actually thank the veterans that are doing their job out there. And the ones that are retired, I hope you appreciate what they did for them defending the Constitution of freedom of speech and all that other stuff, all that great stuff that comes in America. I hope you remember, it's not just a day off that everybody just goes, oh, okay, I'm going to plan a day off and so forth.
I think people really lose sight of the fact, especially the young generation. The young generation looks at this as just another day off from school. It's more than that.
No, there are more people because I mean, there were times where I used to work in immigration, and they said, oh, I can't wait for this day off. They took it as a day off instead of just remembering, hey, listen, this is a day of remembrance, just like 9/11. They wanted to make that into a day off, and Bush said, I think at the time, no, because people are going to take it as a day off. In 10 years from today or 20 years from today, it's just going to be another day off.
Yeah.
So people, it all depends on the people.
They look at it the way they look at Martin Luther King Day or
just another day off for some people.
President's Day or
remember
Lincoln's
we had two when we were growing up. We had Washington and Lincoln, and then they decided to make it President's Day.
And then there was also the matter of Memorial Day, Columbus Day too.
Oh, that's a piece in itself, Columbus Day.
Thanksgiving also.
Oh yeah, whatever happened to Thanksgiving is not Halloween goes straight to Christmas.
Thanksgiving is basically a day for people to do shopping on Black Friday. Now they're doing their shopping on Thanksgiving itself.
Yeah, people are going. They don't remember these holidays like it's supposed to.
They don't respect the holidays the way they're supposed to. That's the problem.
And that's a piece of work. But
but
the 97-year-old World War II veteran, Jesus. God bless him.
I'm going to show this on Facebook Live right now.
Yeah, if you can.
This is a photo of John Middlemas. And this is exactly what he said in regards to the NFL players. He said, quote, those kids have every right to protest. And he said, I'm trying to say that you have to love everybody. We don't kill people. We want to make people live.
That's right.
I want to communicate what I always told my grandkids and everybody else. When they'd go to bed at night, we'd tell the kids we wanted to be like Jesus.
Hey.
This not only is a veteran, he's a God-fearing man.
Right.
And he's also a man with perspective.
And for all religions that are in for peace. That's all it is to it. Those people that are religious should be for peace and be done with it, Because
but then again, you also have other people who have twisted interpretations of religion, and they try to use it in the wrong way.
Jesus, but You know, I think now there was a story on the Staten Island Advance that was kind of cool about St. Peter's.
Yes. The soccer team.
Yeah.
St. Peter's soccer won.
Actually, this one, the football one.
Well, actually,
go ahead.
Two different kinds of football.
Go ahead.
There's football, which we're familiar with, and then there's the football that the people in Europe and South America are familiar with, and that's soccer. What do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about the soccer or you want to talk about the football?
Let's talk about the football because we're still hanging on to football right now.
Well, they started the PSAL playoffs. There's actually two different levels of the PSAL playoffs.
Yeah.
There's the PSAL championships, and there's something called the PSAL Bowl. And that's what MSIT is competing in right now. And as it turns out, MSIT advanced in the PSAL Bowl playoffs. They wound up beating Frederick Douglass 36-34 in a game that was played at Alfred E. Smith High School in the Bronx. So now MSIT, which is a 9 seed, is going to move on to the next round. And they're playing Lehman. And don't kid yourself. Lehman is the number 1 seed in the PSAL Bowl. The Bronx has produced a lot of good players in the past. One of them, right now, is now doing a radio show with ESPN New York, Chris Canty.
And St. Peter riles for crown.
Yeah, that's in the soccer playoffs.
Go ahead, talk about that for a moment because we go.
Yes, exactly, goal. And it's funny that you mentioned soccer because I have some rather disturbing news for a lot of the higher level of soccer fans.
Yes.
But at the grassroots level, we want to say congratulations to St. Peter's High School because they won the Catholic League's A Division City Championship just last night in the Bronx.
They deserve a, can I say it?
Yes.
Go!
Oh, wow. The winning goal was scored by a junior, Dave Rocco, and the final score was 3-2, and Peters won it over Kennedy Catholic.
You know, this is great stuff, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of great stuff coming out of Staten Island, which is great. I'm enjoying the fact that we're doing Staten Island sports because there's a lot of things. Because there has been, I don't know if we produce more football players in Staten Island than baseball players.
We've produced quite a bit of football.
I know
players
actors
here on the
we've produced
yeah.
and musicians, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the only one I know is Dave Platt from Get Smart. But I'm sure there has been Staten Islanders, but I'm trying to figure out. I think there has been more football players coming out of Staten Island than baseball players.
Yeah, there've been a few. I mean, Staten Island has produced everyone from Bobby Thompson to Frank Minichino to Jason Marquis. That's on the baseball side. The football side, they've produced everybody from Dennis McKnight to most recently Joe Andruzzi and Steve Gregory.
Oh, boy.
Joe Andruzzi, of course, won a couple of titles with the Patriots. And Steve Gregory played, I think, 8 years in the league with the Patriots and the Chargers. And now he's happily in retirement, and I think he's trying to move on to the next phase of his life, which might even involve coaching.
You know, and speaking of coaches.
Oh, boy.
Speaking of coaches, David Cohn is throwing his hat
to be the next manager of the Yankees?
To make the next manager of the Yankees, and I forgot the other guy's name.
Actually, there are quite a few ex-players who want to be.
I don't know how David Cohn.
He would be interesting.
I saw somebody's telling me that Keith Hernandez wants to be the Met coach, and I'm trying to figure out.
I think he would be great for the clubhouse because, for one,
Pete Rose should come back.
He should come back, but in what capacity? Because
he
wasn't really a good manager when he managed the Reds,
I was a decent manager. He was a decent manager. Don't get me wrong. Hey, wait a minute. Read this for a second because it says here.
And it's funny that you mention baseball right now.
5 players. You got 5 players that the Mets and Yankees. CC Sabathia. Should the Mets get him or the Yankees re-sign him?
I think the Yankees should give him at least 1 more year. after the way he pitched this season,
he was an
pitched
anchor.
well.
He was an anchor.
He was a real anchor and a great setup guy for Luis Severino.
And also, he was good in the clubhouse.
He's always been a wonderful clubhouse guy and a really stand-up guy, too.
Adam Lind at first base. Should the Yankees or Mets get him? Which one would he be a better fit?
Possibly with the Mets, because the Yankees, I think, are already set with Greg Bird as the first baseman. But
Matt Holliday, they wanted
Matt Holliday got off to a really quick start, but he really tailed off badly the last 3 quarters of the season.
And okay, should the Mets or Yankees? Jay Bruce.
There's been talk about Jay Bruce possibly coming back to the Mets. I wouldn't be surprised if he did return to the Mets.
And also, let me see, why the Mets? Okay, J.D.
Martinez is an outfielder.
Yes.
Probably more so with the Mets than the Yankees, because the Yankees might already be set with Aaron Judge
they need another outfield.
right field.
They think they need another outfield to relieve some of these guys.
Mm-hmm. It's funny that you mentioned the Yankees, because we just got word Aaron Judge was named the American League's Rookie of the Year.
Damn.
Should anybody be surprised?
He tailed off.
Oh, he slumped really badly for about 2 months.
In the playoffs.
But then in mid-September into the end of the regular season, he heated up at the right time.
Yeah.
But then by the time the playoffs came around, he just
did okay.
Could not
he did okay.
hit any breaking pitches whatsoever. And he was really fooled by off-speed stuff too. But
left-handed pitcher Jason Vargas.
I would think that maybe a guy like him could possibly go to. I think it would be a good fit for either the Yankees or the Mets. Maybe as a number 4 or 5 guy, possibly a number 5 guy with either one.
Because it's
and for the record,
yeah.
Cody Bellinger of the Dodgers is the National League's Rookie of the Year. Now, on the subject of baseball, there's been a lot of talk about a kid from Japan.
Which the Yankees should get.
Shohei Ohtani is the kid's name. He's 23 years old, and he could be the next great pitching and hitting sensation, because each of the last 2 years playing for Nippon in the Japanese league, he's hit .330 each year. And his power numbers, although not necessarily great, he has been able to show a little bit of power when he has to. But he's more known for being a contact hitter at the plate. On the mound, he's got a 96-mile-an-hour fastball that can tail up to about 102 miles an hour at best. And he's got a really good forkball, too.
It's not a flat fastball. It's a moving fastball.
It's not a flat fastball. This is a fastball with movement. And he's got a forkball, which is his secondary pitch, in addition to the curve and changeup.
And the mighty spitball that nobody throws. Well, they try anyway.
Now, could we see him on the Yankees or the Mets? Yes. But
are they willing to break the bank for him?
Are they willing to break
the bank
for him?
Because remember the last Asian person that went to the Texas
Darvish?
Yeah, he was supposed to be the next big thing. And
he had a good career in Texas, but then he had Tommy John surgery, and unfortunately he wound up losing a little bit of mileage on his fastball. Still did well, though. When he went to the Dodgers, he pitched really, really well for them into the World Series.
Now, did the Yankees, because I know
that's a hot rumor.
He's supposed to be.
That Darvish might be going to the Yankees.
And him, too. He would be really good. And the Yankees got a real good pitching prospects that are coming up anyway. Mm-hmm. They really have a good. We're set
One
up.
of which is
Yankees
James Kaprelian, and also Justice Sheffield, who's in low A ball right now. But there's an issue with Ohtani, though. He wants to hit. He doesn't want to just pitch. He wants to hit as well.
So he's going to be in the National League then.
There's a strong possibility he might be going to the National League, and I'm thinking maybe if he were to be signed by an American League club, experiment with him being a designated hitter as well.
He'd be another Babe Ruth.
Because Babe Ruth started his career as a pitcher.
That's right, and a damn good one at that, too.
And you mentioned how David Cohen threw his hat in for the Yankee job.
Yeah.
I've also heard John Flaherty.
Yeah.
Aaron Boone. Also.
Mm-hmm.
I've also heard Eric Wedge, who managed the Indians and the Mariners not too long ago.
I don't know about that one. I don't. Out of the people that you mentioned, who do you think?
Out of the people, David Cohn's going to be really interesting because, for one, he would be perfect with that pitching staff.
Oh.
He can take the temperature of a particular pitcher as it happens, and also, I'm curious to see what he would do with the bullpen. Because the criticism of Joe Girardi was that he micromanaged the bullpen really, really badly. And he didn't give his starters the length that, quite frankly, they deserved.
I actually heard Willie Randolph.
Willie Randolph is another because he's a career Yankee. He was a Yankee coach and player for many years.
But wasn't he did very well as a manager, supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
As a Met manager, he had a good record for them.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't a bad manager for them. I don't know. He tailed off too.
Yep.
But in the beginning, he was a very good manager at some point. So maybe Willie Randolph. I mean, you got a lot of good players.
And I'm a little
out.
surprised that he has not gotten any more interviews to try and get a job someplace.
Well, that I don't know what the rule is when it comes to minority-based managers trying to fit in.
It's not like the NFL where they have the Rooney Rule.
Yeah, they have the Rooney Rule where you have to interview a minority person.
Just interview
Which is a shame that they have to do
as
that. Which is a shame that they have to do that, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
But college football, you're into college football, right?
Yes, I am.
So,
and
you know
they
what?
had the best game of the day.
Look at all these. Look at all these.
Mm-hmm. That's actually the NBA.
Look,
You're looking
okay.
at the NBA
Oh,
standings.
okay. Thank you.
But since
Thank
you mentioned college football,
go to college
the
football
best game
first.
of the day turned out to be the worst game of the day.
Army and Duke.
Close. Miami versus Notre Dame.
Oh, damn.
Miami.
Look at the standings for this is the college.
That's actually the scoreboard.
Yeah, but isn't that something?
Oh,
Wow.
and for the record, Alabama is back as being the #1 ranked team in the country. It had been Georgia, but now Alabama has reclaimed the #1 spot after Georgia got their heads handed to them by Auburn over the weekend. That was the second worst game of the day. Worst game of the day by far was Miami just pummeling Notre Dame like they were not even there. And now this only reiterates the Hurricanes want their shot at a national championship.
Wait a minute. You got Webb and Portland. Same Portland. You had 63-17.
Yeah, that's all the way out in the West Coast, though.
Good God. But still, look at 56-10.
Mm-hmm.
Central August? Look at this. I'm not joking. Look at these scores.
I know. 56-10, 45-10, 59-14, 63-17.
Now, mention the damn names. I mean, you just mentioned, you're babbling up.
Well, Weber State, which plays in the Big Sky Conference,
right.
They were the ones that won 63-17 over Portland State. And Nevada, which plays in the Mountain West, 59-14 over San Jose State. Also, North Dakota State, another Big Sky team, 49-14 over South Dakota State. The best game of the day is the one that probably a lot of people were not paying attention to. Oklahoma State against Iowa State. The final score was 49-42. Oklahoma State won it by by not only getting a touchdown with 3.5 minutes left, but intercepting a pass in the end zone. So they're still in the hunt to try and win the Big 12 title.
And right now...
And for the record, the score of the Miami game, if you can believe that.
I can believe it if it's coming from you.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me see if I can check this
yeah, we're so
on my phone.
technical here. We got newspapers and computers. You know what, though? While you're checking that, there's a great thing that Mike Krzyzewski has won his 1,000th game.
At Duke alone.
At Duke alone. Oh, wait. There's another thing.
And for the record, the final score was 41-8.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute.
41-8.
Oh, Carl Lewis.
Yep.
Is considered many the greatest Olympian of the 20th century, is coaching track at the college level at a system designed to help all track athletes. He's good. I mean, Edwin Moses would have been.
Yeah.
Didn't he play football too at some point?
Edwin Moses, I'm not sure if he played football.
I know one of the track
but
guys
I actually
did
see
play.
Carl Lewis here with a a good friend of mine, Jeff Benjamin, who's a big advocate of the track circuit here on the island, and the running circuit here on the island.
It's a shame. it's a damn shame that the Olympics took out wrestling.
Yeah.
Even though Kurt Angle was trying to bring it back at some point.
And YouTube actually had
the 30
video of the match that he won to win the gold medal in 1996 in Atlanta.
As he liked to say, with a freaking neck.
And he really did win that gold medal with a broken neck.
Yeah.
I don't know how he would do it, though.
But you know what? Talking about basketball for a moment, look at this, the women's college basketball.
As a matter of fact, college basketball in general began this past weekend.
Talk about that, brother.
My alma mater, St. John's, opened the season at home, and they wound up beating their opponent over the weekend, this past Friday night to be exact.
Are they in the East?
St. John's, yeah, they're in the Big East Conference, charter member of the Big East Conference. And St. John's wound up winning against a really tough team from New Orleans, which made the tournament last year. It was a really impressive win for them. Now the Johnnies have Central Connecticut State tomorrow night, and then the really meaty part of the schedule begins. They have a big game with Nebraska as part of the Gavitt Classic, and then they have to play a tournament in Orlando next week.
Now, Wagner won.
Wagner won their debut.
Wagner won 62 against NJT 49.
Yeah, New Jersey Institute of Technology. That was a road game for the Seahawks.
And you got a lot of good players here. I mean, right now.
And for the record,
go ahead.
Duke is the #1 ranked team in college basketball right now, and there are emphasis on a lot of freshmen who you might be seeing in the NBA next year. Probably the best freshman of the lot, Marvin Bagley Jr. from Duke.
And the way they changed the system. This year is going to be the same system, and next year after that, they're going to change the system so that nobody can tank, supposedly.
Yeah. And also, there was something that is probably going to cast a dark cloud over the sport for quite a few months, and that was the scandals that broke out in a bunch of the colleges.
Yeah, with Rick.
Specifically with Rick Pitino and how he knowingly was involved in recruiting players in a play for pay scandal and vice versa. As a matter of fact, one former NBA player, remember Chuck Person?
Yes.
Chuck Person was an assistant coach at his alma mater of
good
Auburn.
Player too.
A really good player,
a
very, very talkative player too.
Yeah.
Chuck Person was an assistant at Auburn. There were recorded messages, text messages actually. There were text messages between him and a recruit in which he guaranteed a player $20,000 if the kid would play for him at Auburn. Turns out Person wound up stiffing the kid and only offered him $5,000. But if Chuck Person is going to offer money to a kid just to make their way to Auburn, whose program has struggled mightily for 10 years, this just goes to show you how desperate some of these schools are to try and be competitive and relevant in this game.
And
now Rick Pitino's out of a job, and there's a strong possibility he may not coach again.
They're investigating him hard, and again, it's whatever the court decides. Will he coach in the NBA? Well, you never know, because they like to rehash old coaches sometimes too, because he wasn't a bad NBA coach for the Knicks.
He did really well for the Knicks for 2 years, but with the Celtics, he really struggled.
And speaking of that, Kyrie Irving.
Yeah. Has an eye injury, had a broken bone, broken facial bones, but
he's wearing a protective mask.
Yeah, he wants to wear a mask so he can get back on the court.
Okay.
Somehow the Celtics were able to win their 12th game in a row without him yesterday when they beat the Raptors.
Let's go quick with the NBA, and then we'll get to the NHL. Okay, Boston 11-2. What do you think?
What is there to say about the Celtics? They're able
to
win.
Al Horford came back and had a big game.
They're able to win with and without their best players. this is going to make them a lot more dangerous the second quarter of the season.
And
they have a 12. Did I mention they have a 12-game winning streak?
Oh, I know you.
Now
you mentioned it.
They have a 12-game winning streak because they're getting terrific play from Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, and some of their other younger players as well.
Toronto Raptors 7-4. Come on, give it to me quick.
Toronto's playing okay, but they had a big lead against the Celtics yesterday and blew it. They cannot afford to lose games like those. They have to win against the contenders if they want to be relevant.
And the greatest team that you love so much,
no,
the New York Knicks.
I don't love them at all.
7-5, ladies and gentlemen.
At least Kristaps Porzingis is playing great basketball right now. He's literally averaging 30 a game, and because of that, the Knicks have won 4 in a row, and 7 of their last 8, 7 of their last 9. Tonight they have the Cavaliers.
Now, do they have surgery? Now, he may have surgery at the end of the season. Also, is it Mindaugas
Kuzminskas,
was waived.
Yeah,
just to make room for Joakim Noah.
Yeah, it was basically a numbers game right there. Plus, Kuzminskas was not getting any playing time at all. Hopefully, he could make himself
Cavaliers,
over to Westchester and probably get some playing time there.
There was a couple of teams that want him, and Philadelphia at 6-6. A trade room is still there.
Could the process be working for the Sixers right now? I mean, it doesn't say much with them being a 500 team, but they're playing reasonably well right now.
But they're
trying
to
well because Ben Simmons is playing great.
Yeah.
Markelle Fultz wound up getting hurt, so he's going to be in and out of the lineup. But right now, the Sixers are playing good. Right now, Joel Embiid has been their best player because he has been really terrorizing opposing centers in the low post.
But Philly is trying to get rid of a guy.
They want to trade Jahlil Okafor.
And he should go to the Nets, actually. But
it's a matter of whether he fits the system. I think he could be a good low post player for them because they need a low post presence. Yeah. But he's going to kill them defensively. He does not defend at all.
You know, and the Nets at 5-8, they started off great.
Mm-hmm. They had this really tough Western road trip. Got a couple of wins, but also had a couple of losses as well.
Okay, Southwest Orlando, 8-5. Tell me about Orlando.
Southeast Division.
Yeah, Southeast Division. Go ahead, tell me about them.
Orlando's playing great because Aaron Gordon has been their best player. He's been their top scorer. Elfrid Payton's going to be coming back from injury, and that's only going to make their backcourt even stronger.
Washington, 7-5. The Washington Bullets. I mean, no, the Wizards.
The former Bullets.
The former Bullets. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
With John Wall and also one of the Morris twins and Bradley Beal, I think they're going to be a really dangerous.
Their center's good too.
Yeah,
their center's good too.
Mm-hmm. Marcin Gortat is a very, very underrated center. He could be a really dangerous offensive board guy when he's on his when he has his best game.
Miami at 6-6.
Miami's rebuilding, but slowly but surely. Want to talk about trusting the process with the Sixers? Miami's got a lot of young players, and Eric Spoelstra has done such a great job with this young team.
Charlotte.
Justice Winslow and a whole bunch of other guys have really done well for them.
Charlotte at 5-7, quick.
Kemba Walker has been the main guy for them, but he has very, very little support, especially on the front line.
Atlanta 2-11.
Worst team in basketball right now.
Okay, Central Division, Detroit at 9-3.
They've surprised a lot of people, but no surprise from Andre Drummond, especially considering that he's been a double-double waiting to happen.
Milwaukee at 6-6.
Basically a 500 team. Everybody's expecting Giannis Antetokounmpo to be the most valuable player this year, but it's hard to pick a guy from a 500 team to be the MVP. Not only that, but he doesn't really have that much support. I mean, where's Jabari Parker? I know that they made the trade with the Suns to get Eric Bledsoe, and they're looking for those two to be a really good combo right now, Eric Bledsoe and Giannis Antetokounmpo. But they've got to start winning some big games so far.
Cleveland at 6-7, who would have known?
Well, when you think about it, not having Isaiah Thomas is hurting them really badly. So it's just a matter of time before he returns. From what I understand, maybe he'll be back in February, but it's obvious that they miss Kyrie Irving.
Indiana 6-7?
They're hanging on by a thread right now, mostly because Victor Oladipo has been picking up the scoring slack for them. I would think they would be a really dangerous team down the road.
Chicago at 2-9.
Chicago's building with younger players right now. Don't expect much from them.
Okay, in the Southwest Division, you got Houston at 10-3.
Right now, they, along with Golden State, are the two best teams out west. And James Harden has played terrifically. Chris Paul, even though he's been hurt, once he returns, look out. That backcourt's going to be deadly.
Also, the San Antonio Spurs at 8-5.
This is a team that's gotten so much older in the backcourt. Manu Ginobili's 38 years old. Tony Parker's only 35. But
you have a drink, huh?
No.
You burped.
That's because I had a sandwich earlier. That's because I had a sandwich earlier.
You had a shot, too. What?
I had a sandwich earlier.
Yeah.
I don't do shots like you, man.
Oh, thank you very much.
Anyway.
I need it here.
San Antonio's gotten significantly older. Manu Ginobili's 38 years old. Tony Parker, who can't seem to stay healthy, is 35. But right now, it's been Kawhi Leonard who's been picking up the scoring slack for them. And so far, they're hanging on by a thread with him as the leader.
Memphis
7-5.
7-5.
They're really missing the big guy in the middle, which is Zach Randolph. But right now, they still have
Who would have thought
Mike
Zach
Conley
Randolph?
Jr. They still have They still have Marc Gasol, who's always a dangerous threat in the low post. At the same time, they don't really have that third scoring option to go to try and get them to the next level.
Now you got New Orleans at 7-6,
Dave
and then
surprised
Dallas at
me a
2-11.
Dallas is dreadful, absolutely dreadful. The only saving grace they have right now is Dennis Smith Jr., who's a really good-looking rookie point
Who
guard.
LeBron said
Who
that the
LeBron
Knicks
said should have been. But let me tell you, the Knicks were better off getting Frank Ntilikina as opposed to Dennis Smith Jr. Not to say that Smith is going to be bad. I mean, he's a really explosive point guard with some great leaping ability. His problem is he's an undersized point guard. He's only 6'2" or 6'3".
There was an article that I read that said, did Phil Jackson leave the Knicks pretty good? I think he left it pretty good because he got Porzingis, he got Nikita, and he did.
And those were his last two acts as general manager.
Yeah, he got Mendingas, what's his name, too?
Mindaugas Kuzminskas, who's now released.
Yeah, but that was Phil Jackson's boy, too. I think if Phil Jackson would have been there, he would have been playing more. But also, in the Northwest, we got to do this quick. It's Denver, 8-5. Tell me about Denver quick.
Denver so far has surprised a couple of people. I mean, after losing Danilo Gallinari to the Clippers, at least they were able to right themselves by having a new guy, quite a few new players on their roster as well.
Minnesota at 7-5.
I didn't really believe in the Timberwolves at first because I thought that they were a little bit too green age-wise to try and make a real impact. But so far, they played reasonably well. They kind of laid a goose egg in Oakland recently when they lost to the Warriors, but Minnesota's playing reasonably
Portland
well.
At 6-6.
Portland's really treading some thin ice right now.
Utah at 6-7.
Utah surprisingly has held their own, and that's because they've got Jeff Teague as their new point guard.
Oklahoma City, who would have thought? 6-7.
Major problem with their big three right now. They only have one basketball, and they have to share it with three superstars, and Paul George, Melo, and Russell Westbrook.
And in the Pacific, Golden State 10-3.
Golden State is 10-3, and then you have everybody else. The Warriors are the best team in the league right now.
LA Clippers 5-7.
A disappointment.
LA Lakers 5-8. That's a toss-up.
Well, they have a lot of great young players, and Lonzo Ball, of course, has been getting all of the headlines. But it's not just Lonzo Ball.
That's because it's his father.
His father keeps on barking
he should be
up
a wrestler.
the wrong
I'm
tree.
telling you, he was a good wrestler. But
it's funny you mention that because he did an episode of Raw a few weeks ago.
Yeah, he acted. Yeah, all right. 5-9.
Phoenix is 5-9. They just recently made the Eric Bledsoe trade. This is a team that's rebuilding quite a bit right now. And Sacramento, second worst team in the league right now. So many new faces, yet the same results.
Yeah, you know what? Going to hockey, Jets, Rangers, Devils, and Islanders. Tell me about them quick.
All three teams won on Saturday. The Rangers got a big win.
The Rangers, as Steve Summers likes to say.
Mm-hmm. The Rangers got a big win at home against Edmonton. The Devils wound up winning as well last night against Chicago. And the Islanders got a big, big victory against St. Louis. So far, all three teams are pretty much riding the ship.
And the top teams in the Atlantic Division is Tampa at 13-2, Toronto 12-7, Ottawa 8-3, Detroit 8-8, Montreal 8-9, Boston 6-6, Buffalo 5-9, Florida 5-9. You take the rest, man.
Yeah. Right now, the Devils are leading the Metropolitan Division with a 10-4-2 record, and that's because they're getting good balanced scoring from some of their guys. And also, Columbus checks in at 10-7-1. Columbus has been a bit of a surprise team for a lot of people this season. Then you have Pittsburgh, which is 9-7-3.
You got 2 minutes left. Yep. Knock it out quick.
Yep. Then you have the Islanders, who are 9-6-2. The Rangers are 9-7-2. Then you have Washington, which is 9-7-1. Philly's 8-7-2, and then you have Carolina, which is 6-5-4, and that completes the East.
Yeah, okay. And last but not least, the Central is 13-4-1.
That's St. Louis.
Nashville 9-5-2. Winnipeg 8-4-3. Dallas 9-7-0. Chicago 8-7-2. Colorado 8-7-1. Minnesota 7-7-2. And in the Pacific, LA's
been off to a really good start. They have more depth. They have more scoring. Look out for the LA Kings this season.
11-3-2. Vegas 10-5-1. Surprise, surprise.
The reason why Vegas has 10 wins out of their first 17 so far is because they built a team to win right now, and they're also getting great goaltending.
Colorado 9-7-0.
You mean Calgary?
Yeah, that one too.
Calgary's 9-7.
Go ahead, you read the rest.
Then you have Vancouver, which is 8-6-2. Then you have Anaheim, which is 7-6-3. San Jose's 8-6. Edmonton's struggling a little bit. They're 6-9-1. Then you have the worst team in the entire league, which is Arizona, 2-13-3.
Survivor Series coming up. Charlotte is supposed to win the title because they want Charlotte versus Asuka at some point in time. AJ Styles won the tag team titles. There's going to be a threesome with the Shield versus New Day. Also, the fact it's going, this is going crazy. TNA or whatever they call themselves.
You mean Global Force Wrestling?
They're going in a lot of ways. I mean, they have Dave Lambert being the bad guy and so forth. Very good. He's doing a very good job. And also, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Great thing to see. You got to see Naito and all them other guys. And Los Ingobernables de Japón, the Bullet Club, and all them other people, Chaos. And you got to see these people, man. They got great wrestling stuff. And, in hockey, you've seen wrestling from Japan and Global Force. What do you think of them now, right now? Are they getting better?
Unfortunately, I have not seen
you
a lot of wrestling from Japan.
You got to see
recently.
it. Yeah, you got to see it.
I will say this.
But
there's a promotion called Combat Zone. It has a lot of good young talent. And they've also produced guys like Dean Ambrose in the past.
Yeah, Live 201.
They've got
NXT,
really good storylines going and some real heat with their young wrestlers.
We got 1 minute left. What do you got to say, sir?
Before we continue, I want to give well wishes to all of the veterans out there, specifically the veterans that are good friends of ours here on the Staten Island area. Thank you for all you have done to protect our freedom and our way of life, and we're so honored to call you our friends.
And also defending the Constitution that I wish they would live up to now.
Well, that's going to do it for us. Hector, you can take us out of here.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, the hottest, baddest, sexiest man on cable access TV will finish you off just like I finished all the ladies off. And that is this. Take care, God bless, and remember, give love to the people that you have out there because you never know when they're going to die. My buddy and family member Keith Peters is the one that died. God bless him. I hope he's in the right place. Take care, man.